Well, John, I'm sure that you're the first person on YouTube to stand on a lawn tractor Fender floor. So let's get inside. Let's see what John's poking around at. Alright. So, John is currently memorizing as much as he can where he sees holes that come through, because we're going to stuff him up in the cab. What do you think, John? You think that lawn tractor fender is going to make a good floor pan?
Yep.
So, that's the fender off of an old red Walmart MTD. And we've got the matching fender down here. This is a gray Statesman's MTD, which are exactly the same thing. The only difference is the hood and the rear fender are gray. But for some reason, gray won't sell. Red, for some reason, sells. So we take all the Statesman stuff off and we stash it. And then we put the red Walmart color on and people buy it. Not sure why, but they like red better. We've got the jack up there in order to be able to get the crossmember off, because there's a rust hole right through where the crossmember goes over there. Also, on the transmission, viewers have pointed out that there are 13 bolts in that transmission. The fact that somebody figured out where to pause the video to count to 13 is creepy, but cool, which means that transmission is upgraded. It's probably a TH350 instead of the 200 that we thought it was, which is cool beans because that's a better transmission. So that's good, even though we ran the VIN on the car that says it should be a 200. So somebody did something, and thank you to them, because that's better. Anyways, over here on the work table, got some breather stuff for John. I ordered up a set of these Yes Welder goggles because I came up with these in a couple of videos, probably about 10 years ago, and all of a sudden these buggers, about a year later, started showing up all over Amazon. So I guess we're going to try some of those. We ordered up a Kymo. I paid for this. This is not sponsored, but Kymo has sponsored me in the past, so I figured I'd give them some love. This thing was $34 with battery and the charger. I couldn't beat it, so we're going to try that. Toolant reached out and sent us some of these to try, and I was very hesitant, except for they have upgraded them to have heat holes so that they dissipate, which is what killed a lot of these back 5 years ago when they first hit the market, was they would overheat this, and then they would bend, and then they do stupid stuff. And you guys got on the Amazon wish list and ordered up some rust primer and a couple of other things. Oh, there is an item I haven't unboxed yet because it's for you. Yep. So let me see here. Let me grab this. Okay. That was on the Amazon wish list for you. Come on, open up. No, not the light bulbs. Although you could use a couple of them out right about here. The light bulbs are from the Amazon wish list, but yes, this is something John wanted off the Amazon wish list. Because you said the one I had on it was ugly. That's the one you wanted. So, you need to say thank you to the viewers that got on the Amazon wish list, because that was for you.
Thank you.
Is that better looking than the one I had on there?
Yeah.
A lot better looking?
Yes.
Okay, fine, be that way. John's working on his home away from home today. We got Dollar General drop cloth thrown on here in order to keep Total Boat spray from getting up on the dash. Got Dollar General tape. We got a Dollar General wardrobe. There is nothing complicated about removing this crossmember. It should be 15mm bolts with 15mm nuts on each end. A 15mm nut right here, jack the transmission, and pop it off. But this one's not doing it. Watch this. I have found things in this car glued together, and I think somebody actually glued the transmission mount into place on this thing. Baka! I have driven spatulas into the side of this right here to try and break it free. Something right here, it's like the rubber is just plain seized or sealed or glued or something right to the crossmember. It should just be unbolt that and drop it.
As I've been working on the passenger side. Hi, Dad.
I see y'all. I finally hit the screw it, I have a welder solution. I sliced that chunk out. I unbolted everything. Now it should be loose. Like that. So I should be able to slide sideways off the member and down. Now, let's take a look at this thing. Yeah. That's supposed to be a solid block of stuff. I don't know what in the world's going on there. But we'll put that on the Amazon list. That's caca. Dollar General, $1 a box. Marker, $2. Everything put together so you can lose it all at the same time, priceless. Working on getting the gas tank dropped down. Haynes manual says just reach in and undo the gas lines before dropping the tank. I don't know whose tiny hands are supposed to fit in that 1-inch gap, but that's not happening. And every bolt on here is a different size, so the grinder and I are just plain going to remove all of them. Once it's dropped down, I probably am just going to slice the lines because they're all going to be rotted, and as far as I can tell, somebody has been through this kind of randomly. I also discovered that all of these have had new bushings pushed into them. So, I don't know, somebody took the time to start rebuilding this thing, but then stopped for some reason. And I'm kind of worried if the some reason might be the transmission in the future. We'll see. Well, it's not exactly how I had that planned. I cut into the bolt, and I thought using the new cutoffs that I still had a little bit left in it, but apparently cut it too deep. And while I was setting the camera up for a tripod angle, she just let loose, dumped everything I had up there on the floor, scared John to the point he decided that he needed to be out of the vehicle. And I don't exactly know why those actually managed to hold on and stop it from hitting the ground, because they're pretty darn caca. So I'm going to take some pictures so I know exactly which one of those lines goes to which one of these, because the Haynes manual for this car is beyond useless. Do not buy one. It is worthless. And then go from there. And luckily that had a quick disconnect that decided to part itself from there. So that's good. Oh, what is this one? That one did not quick disconnect so well. John, there's a reason you don't do the band. What are you, trying to play Ghetto Spoons G-Body Edition?
Yep.
Alright. Ever since we saw these aftermarket mud flappy things, we've been trying to figure out why in the world the Monte Carlo had them. So we took off that one. And, you know, not too big of a deal. It is what it is. But then we took off that one. And as you can see, there is pitting all through this. And then perfectly fine. And if I stick over in here, we got pitting perfectly fine. I think somebody has already done the lower quarters over in here. From here down, there's actually a Bondo crack, I believe, on the other side. And I highly doubt that Chevy would have left this giant weld line right here. So I'm betting those have already been done, and that the horrifying mud flaps were the attempt to not have to do them again. Yeah, those are just... We're not putting those back on, are we?
I don't think we are.
Okay,
They're
good.
warped.
Yeah, they're warped and I think they look stupid. Let's start with the positive good side. The underside of the trunk looks great. This is caca, but we can probably cut them back somewhere in here and make it work. I pulled off the connector inspection plate and those look perfectly fine. I don't see any reason to monkey with that at this point. Everything over in here is pretty well solid, but on the other side, we've got thoroughly obliterated mount, including the frame side of it. All of that is all just a hole straight through into the trunk. So I haven't quite figured out what I'm gonna do there. Probably gonna have to do e-brake cables, no matter how much I don't want to do them, because they're required in the state of Maine legally. And so, I don't know. I guess we should do the safety thing and put e-brake cables on. We're already in it this much. Oh, there goes that. But while we're here, let's talk about why I wasn't cutting that out with the sponsored tool, CC. CC, I'm calling you out. This thing's got quibbles. It keeps shutting itself off, going into some sort of safety mode every time you even remotely push on this blade. I think the safety is overly sensitive, because it's fine for light sanding and cutting very gently, but we're not cutting gently. Oh, actually, look. I left it on from the last time that it got whatevered. So once it whatevers, I've got to pop that back in. Yeah, that really sucks when you're underneath a vehicle and trying to get things done. So I guess we're back to working with skill, even though I was trying to replace it. Before we call it a night on day one of this weekend, we're gonna get this popped out. See what kind of condition the inside of this looks like. The big thing is whether the filter is clean. Yeah, I don't see a bunch of rust on the filter, so that's a good sign. Can I see the light, John? Let's see what we can see on the inside. Oh yeah, it looks nice and solid. So I'd say the tank is savable, the sending unit just plain cocked out. And the gas that's in there that I put in looks like it's going to plow the driveway tomorrow at the end of this snowstorm. We're on a late start to day two. We're officially at that point in winter where everything is hope you don't have another snowstorm, because there's just nowhere to put anything anymore. But the little GT6000, she's still kicking over and still does her job. I do think I need to put a locker in the rear and probably upgrade to some V-cut chain. But otherwise than that, she gets her job done. So let's go inside and let's find out what John's on here. Last I knew, he was trying to get the turn signal lights out of the rear of this thing.
Yes?
You're on candid camera.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute. That show doesn't exist anymore. I'm showing my age. Damn it, why do all the good shows go away? Like Americans' Funniest Home Videos and stuff. TikTok killed things that were good. So, John's got those out because we really honestly only have one real spot of rust anywhere on the vehicle on the external body. Now granted, internal there's a ton, but somebody's been here before like we talked about yesterday. So we're gonna hit this with the grinder and find out just how bad it is behind it. And John's fishing the lights up and out and putting them in a baggie and then zip tying off the baggie. Let's see if we can show you on this side. There we go. And what that's going to do is that's going to let me tape that right to the inside of that fender while I'm in here working on this. Because somebody's been in here and done some interesting patch panels. I can see there may or may not be right there a Bondo breakout line from somebody doing previous repair. So we're going to smack this thing and see what's in underneath here. Blew out a new hole there, so this rust is going back. So here's the thing when you're dealing with a rust patch like this. Everybody usually cuts out into here, but if you're welding with flux core, you've got to cut it like all the way back into like this line to have it thick enough to weld to without just blowing potholes through it. So let's grind it all the way back and hopefully not hit another hidden pothole. Yeah, there's no seam in there. That's not re-welded. But you can definitely see the difference in paint. They feathered it here. So I'm betting somebody got a can of match color paint and ground all of this down, did a glazing over it, and redid it. So we're just going to cut that patch right out, weld a new piece in, and started pulling up the wiring track and was like, hey, that's not too bad. This actually looks really good. That's nice. And honey, I'm home. Rust pocket. You and the finding rust holes, it wore off on me. I blame you. Now I gotta go do the other side so I can cry about that one too. Breaking things down advice, what side it came from, some sort of directional with an arrow in order to figure it out later. Because stuff like this is not in a Haynes manual on how to put it back in. So you've got to remember or take a bunch of pictures. I do both. I take pictures and I write it with a directional. For the person that finds this video in their search working on a G-body in the future, the answer is T47 for most of them. To answer the second question of what brand of Torx bits do I use, the answer is find a shop local to you that sells tools that is dumb enough to have lifetime guarantee Torx bits. In my case, it's AutoZone with Duralast bits. This is just using on one vehicle here in the Rust Belt of Maine. Anything that goes through to the underside of the vehicle is going to kill your Torx bits. It just is what it is. On the other hand, the other side to this that I will tell you is that if you weld that solid and then put a really large 3/4 inch nut welded onto the end of it, that tends to take them out, or it tends to rip out the mounting bolt from underneath. Either way, you know whether you can reuse it or not. We've decided we're just going to make our own mounts for the seats since we're going custom, which means drilling out spot welds. Drilling out spot welds on rusted stuff sucks because they're harder to see. So what I do is I take a flap disc and I very lightly go across the area, and then that shows you divots, which are most likely where the spot welds are. It's not a perfect science, but it at least gets you in the ballpark really quick instead of shooting in the dark. Spot weld removal trick number 2. The round burr bit in every $20 burr bit set that you never use for anything is nice to use for doing these, because if you're up in an oddball angle and you can't get a straight on shot with a drill, you can do this from 360 something degrees. Just another side note to give you options. Is drilling it out easier? Oh yeah, but this gives you that weird angle of the dangle you might need. What the hell is that face? You look like one of those ugly fish that they show that come out of the deep ocean right now. Okay. Let's have an argument in the comments section. Man card must be able to regrind your own drill bit. I don't care whether you use a drill bit grinder tool or whether you freehand it, but I am of the belief that man card is being able to regrind your own drill bits over and over. You do not have this man card yet. We're working on it. Don't you dare yawn, Danielson. I told you, I Miyagi'd you with the grinder and said you are going to do 5 hours worth of grinding with vacuuming, and it's going to build that upper strength for throwing people around wrestling. Don't you dare yawn. Either keep up with the old guy or stop yawning. But, as you can see, John wanted to see whether I'm crazy and it'll actually fit. Stop the yawning! You have another 4.5 hours of grinding to do today. Don't even. Alright. I think that's gonna fit. Do you still think I'm crazy, or you think it's gonna fit now?
It might fit.
It might fit? Ye of little pan faith. Hey, John! What do you think? Does the CC redeem itself as a sander?
Yeah.
It's lighter, I think, than the skill one. Do you agree? Like, if you grab the Denali there, which is just a skill with a different color on it, do you think it's lighter? I think it is. I didn't mean more powerful, I meant lighter.
Oh, is that like weight?
Yeah. As in weight.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, the CC is definitely lighter, which means it's got a smaller motor in it, which probably explains why it's got the stop feature on it. It's a good sander, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a minor moment of learning that humans are filled with ketchup, which is why they taste good to dragons, apparently.
Dragons?
Or is it that humans taste good with ketchup, and that's why dragons like to eat them? I don't remember.
What do you mean, vampires?
Oh. We're filled with ketchup, so vampires like us? What the hell kind of body guy are you? You cut a hole in the floor so you could reach the back seat more comfortably. What is up with that? I'm not gonna say that came out perfect, but everything is all within plug weldable. This piece right here, all across here, is gonna have to be replaced anyway, so I'm not too worried about this. I got tired and a little overzealous with the drill. It is what it is. And in keeping with the Dollar General car rebuild theme, we're gonna go have a Red Baron pizza. Because up here in Maine, they're 2 for $10. Because we can't afford DiGiorno on this budget. John and I would like to say a thank you for those of you that have helped us with the Amazon gift list on this Monte Carlo. We'll post a link down below for it. Don't feel like you have to get anything. One of the reasons why we do the Amazon gift list is because it takes away the nickel and dime mystique of the project. A lot of YouTubers just magically show up with parts. We like to do our projects where we show exactly how much we get nickeled and dimed because it brings the reality of it home. John, in this case, just plain didn't like my AutoZone grungy ghetto Spectrum filter. So he talked you guys apparently into buying him this one that he says is prettier. I take my Spectrum one off of there.
It's all mangled on the bottom.
That's because I had to beat the snot out of it to fit these, and then it didn't fit, so I put a piece of 6-inch stovepipe on it. Yeah, give me back my stovepipe adapter. See if that fits. Now, does that actually bring it up over the top of those? Yes, it does. Oh, you forgot to take the rubber adapter out.
Oh.
There we go. So, let's take the rubber adapter out. Let's put this on. Now, we have a known issue that this rod is actually too tall for the hood to close. So, put that on. There you go. So now it came with this pretty little top cap that hold it right next to it, because we're going to have to cut it down. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and we're going to sight glass across this. Okay, can you sit up? Can I see the... No, get your hand out of the way so I can see the other fender. Yeah, we're going to have to cut it all the way down and hope that the hood clears later. All right. Let us know, was John right? Does the Amazon filter look better than my ghetto AutoZone filter from 12 years ago? Hi, John, you and your pretty little air filter. You got lucky because that hood's got some arch in it. It should fit. Say thank you to the Amazon gift list purchasers.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Little things like this are the kind of motivation that keep us going. Well, John, I'm sure that you're the first person on YouTube to stand on a lawn tractor fender floor. We got a lot of patching to do, a lot of beating it up. Go ahead and step off, John, right behind you. It's not gonna give, it's welded. Well, tack welded. So there we go. We tack welded the seam together. We've got to beat this into place around here. Then come in underneath it and knock everything up next to it. We're gonna seam sealer the whole thing, both top and bottom. It is what it is. Seam sealer's like $10 a tube. And the whole just buy the pan thing, by the time I have the entire pan shipped to my door, it's almost $240. This was free. A little bit of welding wire out of our $100 POS welder. A little bit of swearing, some ketchup, and it worked out fine. Hi, John. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Jethro. Say thank you to the people that got onto the garage wish list. Somebody ordered you up shoes to have you safe walking around as a toddler in the garage. I wonder how they knew that you were walking. Yeah, dada. So big thank you to Ben Wallen, along with the torque wrench that's 1/4 inch, that's for inch pounds and stuff for when we build the engines. When we're doing our experiments and going mini bike racing and everything. Do you like when Daddy goes vroom vroom on the mini bike? Haha.